Hello, Professor Adjvan here, and in this episode of the linear series, episode 10, we're going to talk about a specific equation or a form that we can see lines in, specifically the slope-intercept form. Okay, we're going to do three examples, and in the three examples, we're going to have 2 points, and we're going to use these 2 points to come up with the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. So if the questions that you're working on currently look like this, then this is the correct video for you. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So slope-intercept form is probably the most common type of form or equation that you're going to see for lines. It's going to be written in the form of y equals mx plus b. Okay, the y is our output. Okay, this is what we're going to use to plot the equation, and the x is our input. All right, this is what we plug in to find where we're going to end up on the graph. So there are two pieces in this equation that we have to come up with. We have to come up with the m, the slope, and we have to come up with the b, the y-intercept, or where we cross the y-axis on the graph. Okay, so in our equation, when we actually get one, the m and the b are going to be numbers, and the y and the x are going to stay variables because they can always change. But the slope and the y-intercept are going to be the same. So let's look at an example. In the first example, we have the point 0, 0.01 and the point 0.22. And what I want to do is find both the slope between these 2 points, and then we're going to use that along with one of the points to find the y-intercept, our b. Alright, so let's start with the slope. We know from the last video how to find the slope between 2 points, where we take the difference in the y values and we divide it by the difference in the x values. Right, so if we have an x1, a y1 for our first point, and an x2 and a y2 for our second point, then the slope is going to be 2 minus 1 divided by 2 minus 0. Right, so 2 minus 1 gives us 1, 2 minus 0 gives us 2. So the slope between these 2 points is 1/2. That's our m. Alright, so if we take a look at what we have so far, we have y equals m, which is 1/2, x plus b. Alright, so we need to figure out what this b is to have our equation written in slope-intercept form. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick one of these 2 points. It doesn't matter which point we pick, we just need to pick one of them. So we can pick the first one, doesn't matter. I prefer to pick one that maybe has a 0 in it, or if it doesn't have any fractions in it, it'll probably be easier to solve. Alright, so this first point has a 0, so let's select that one. And we know that this point, it's a coordinate point, so it's written in the form of x, y. So I want to plug in 0 for x, and I want to plug in 1 for y. Okay, so now I have an equation written, y is 1, m is 1/2, x is 0, plus b. B is the only variable in this equation, so we can solve for it. Right, 1/2 times 0 is 0, plus b, and 0 plus b is just going to be b, right? So we get that b is equal to 1. So we can use this, along with the m that we previously found, to write our equation of y equals m, which is 1/2, x, plus our y-intercept, b, or 1. So this would be the equation in slope-intercept form that passes through these 2 points. Okay, let's look at another example. Right, in this case, we have a couple negatives. So let's see how that's going to change things. First, we want to start with the slope. Right, we're still using the same slope equation. So I can take the y from my second point, -5, and subtract the y from my first point, 1. And I can take the x from my second point, 0, and subtract the x from the first point, -2. Alright, so -5 minus 1 gives us -6, and 0 minus -2 is going to become 0 plus 2, so we would have 2. And this simplifies a little bit. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and it's -6, we're going to have -3. Okay, our slope is -3. So looking at this in the equation of y equals mx plus b, we have y equals -3x plus b. I said in the last problem that we want to pick any point. It doesn't matter which point we pick, but I recommended picking a point that has a 0 in it. So again, I'm going to pick this point because it has a 0 in it. Make things a little bit easier. Alright, so we're going to plug in this 0 for x and the -5 for y. So that we get an equation written where b is the only variable, so we can solve for b. Okay, so we get -5 is equal to -3 times 0 is 0 plus b, and again 0 plus b is just b. So we find that b, our y-intercept, is -5. So writing our final equation, now that we have the slope and the intercept, y is equal to -3 x minus 5. And this is the equation in slope-intercept form that passes through these 2 points. All right, we have one more example to look at. We now have 4, 0, and 0, 2. So we always start the same way. We always find the slope first. So using the slope equation, we take the second y that we have, 2. We subtract the first y, 0. Divided by the second x that we have, 0, minus the first x, 4. Right, 2 minus 0, well that's 2. 0 minus 4 is -4. And 2 divided by 4, that can be simplified into 1/2. And because one of them, the denominator, is negative, we have -1/2 as our slope, as our m. So let's use this m, the -1/2, to help us solve for b. Now looking at the 2 points, we have a 4, 0 and a 0, 2. Right? So my recommendation of using one that has a 0, we can use either one. Alright, so we'll just use this first one of 4, 0 because it's the first one. So we're going to plug in 4 for x and 0 for y. Right? So if we plug in 0 for y and 4 for x, right, we get 0 is equal to -1/2 times 4 is going to become -4/2 plus b. And -4/2 will simplify to -2. And to get the b by itself, we can either subtract it over, or I can just add this 2 across the equals and get 2 is equal to b. So we have our y-intercept. We already found our slope. We can write the equation in slope-intercept form of y equals -3x plus 2. And just like that, we have the equation in slope-intercept form that passes through the 2 given points. If you found this video helpful, consider giving it a like and consider subscribing to the channel for more math lessons. Thanks for watching, good luck, and we'll see you in the next one.